Alright guys, today we're going to look at how to solve equations with factoring. Before we can look at how to solve equations with factoring, the first thing we want to do is do a recap of factoring. As a reminder, all three of these problems in the top section here, these are all problems that we've done at the door every day. They're quadratic and they begin with a coefficient of 1, so what that means is we're just looking for two numbers that multiply to the last coefficient and add to that middle coefficient. So in that case, we're looking for numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 4. Those are 2 and 2. So we could write x plus 2 times x plus 2. A better way to write that would be x plus 2 squared, because that would be a shorter, conciser way and show that it's just x plus 2 multiplied by itself. Take a few seconds. Try the next two on your own, and then come back. All right, I'm assuming you factored the next two, and we should get x plus 4 squared for this one, because 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 plus 4 is 8. We should get x minus 5 squared for the last one, because negative 5 plus negative 5 is negative 10, but negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, okay? So all we're going to do now, I'm hoping you can a little bit tell where we're going with this based on what we did last class. And we're going to take what we already know, we're going to combine that with factoring to be able to solve. So now, you already know how to factor the left side here, so that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start by factoring the left-hand side, and that gets us x plus 2 quantities squared. We actually know that from the top section. Now, we're going to do exactly what we were doing before. We're going to take the square root of both sides, and then what we're going to do is we're going to write x plus 2 equals 6, and x plus 2 equals negative 6. Again, the reminder for why we're using the positive and the negative here is that when you square 6, you get 36. When you square negative 6, you also get 36. So we want to make sure that we account for both of those possibilities. Now you just solve both equations. You get x equals 4. You get x equals negative 8. Okay? A shortcut that you'll sometimes see people use when they're solving these equations is after the square root step, they'll write x plus 2 equals plus or minus 6. And then they'll subtract 2 from both sides there. They'll get x equals plus or minus 6 minus 2. And then they'll kind of just do that math, right? They'll do positive 6 minus 2, which is 4, and negative 6 minus 2, which is negative 8. That's just kind of a slightly different way of writing it. And it's one that'll work really well. So do me a favor, try the next two of these. I realize that problem C is a little tricky, but I'm betting you guys will figure it out. All right, I'm assuming you have paused and tried both of those, and that all went great. So let's take a look at the solving process on both. This one factors to x plus 4 squared equals 49. Take the square root of both sides. We get x plus 4 equals 7, and x plus 4 equals negative 7. That leaves us with x equals 3, and x equals negative 11 when we subtract 4 from both sides. C was a little bit tricky, because we're not typically used to factoring with decimals. And in general, we just won't do a lot of it. But here, we have a very specific purpose in that we're really trying to solve for x. So if we have to use decimals to factor, you know what, we're going to say that's okay. And 2.5 times 2.5 gets us 6.25. And 2.5 plus 2.5 also gets us 5. So that would factor into x plus 2.5 squared. Again, take the square root of both sides, and we're going to get x plus 2.5 equals 6, and x plus 2.5 equals negative 6. Subtract 2.5 from both sides, we get 3.5, and negative 8.5. So all we're really doing is adding a step onto the previous day that we did, on the previous lesson that we did. So, and that's what we're going to kind of keep doing. Next time, we're going to basically add another step to this. We're going to be building up into a slightly larger problem. Hope everybody learned something.